temperatures ahead, it's the perfect time to cozy up with a comforting bowl of soup. So joining us this morning is registered dietitian Susan Watson with some easy meal tips to preparing soups and stews. Susan, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
So when we think about the traditional way of making soup, we see our grandmother or mother slaving away over the stove, simmering these soups for hours on end. But today you're going to be showing us some time-saving tips on how to make some soups and stews.
Yes, so all of these recipes are what are called one-pot meals. And what I like about one-pot meals is that you pretty much can put everything into the pot and let it cook, and you don't have as many dishes to deal with at the end of the day.
It's a meal in itself as well, because we are, with these recipes, we are aiming to have a very balanced meal.
Yeah, the key with one-pot meals is to make sure you have the balance of all the right nutrients. So you want to make sure you have your grains and starches, your protein, as well as make sure your recipes are packed with vegetables.
And you have 3 different types of soups on display for us today. And you were telling me just before we headed into the show that they only took you 35 minutes.
Exactly. They only took 35 minutes. I was using some time-saving pantry staples that we can talk about. But the key really when you're making them is to use items that you're not having to soak, like beans, by using canned products that are already ready to go. But basically, when it comes to making a one-pot meal, it's very simple to get started. You would take your one pot, saute your onions and garlic, add in your protein, whether you're using a plant-based protein like canned beans, or you can use chicken, whether it's cooked or raw. Get that going into the pot, then fill it up with whatever broth you want to use. And once that comes to a boil, you can add your grains and starches. You can either use pasta or something quick like quinoa or brown rice. You just make sure that it's whole grain so you're getting all of that fiber. And once the grains are done, your soup is done. And all of these recipes here only took 30 minutes.
That's incredible. So let's talk a little bit about these pantry staples that you have just lying around that really help you accelerate that time.
Making sure that your pantry is stocked with these time saver ingredients really helps with these one-pot meals. So quick cooking quinoa is very, very nice to have. And as well as, many people don't know, but you can just add pasta directly into your one-pot meals and it will cook it. We do recommend using whole grains, as again, it's high in fiber. And when it comes to your stocks and broths, it's really good to use ones that are low sodium. You can adjust the salt if you want at the end, but starting off with a low sodium version of stock is good, as well as any canned tomatoes. They come in a low sodium version, so you don't have to chop and dice them. You can just add them directly in.
I love using diced tomatoes for things like chili. And it's great that we can make that broth option also vegetarian. You can use your chicken or your vegetable broth, but it is low sodium that we are really keeping our eye out on. Now, let's talk a little bit about these 3 different soups that you have for us, starting with this one-pot pasta. Am I pronouncing this right? Pasta e fagioli?
Yes. Good job. Good job.
My Italian is a little rusty.
Yeah, so this one right here, it was so versatile because the original recipe called for a different type of pasta that I didn't have, and I wanted to use whole grain, so I just swapped it out and used the whole grain pasta. But it uses plant-based protein, which is kidney beans and chickpeas, and I got a mixed can of beans and I just rinsed them and added them in as the protein. And what's really great is all of these recipes are freezable too. So what you can do, I don't recommend freezing them in the jars, this is more for visual, but if you take a resealable bag, put your soup, the leftovers in there, and lie it flat and freeze it. That way when it comes to having it again, you can let it thaw in the fridge and then just reheat on the stove.
I love that because this is such a great alternative to quick and instant dinners like instant noodles or mac and cheese. Once you have it in the fridge, you have it thawed, you can just quickly reheat it, and you don't have to go to those high sodium instant foods. That's great. Now, Susan, you do have all of these recipes on your website.
Yes, at alittlenutrition.com. You just go to the blog where it says recipe inspiration and then the top 3 right now.
Fabulous. Susan, thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome.